The first teaser trailer for Frankenstein has been shown at Netflix's Tudum event, directed by Guillermo del Toro. This is one of the most anticipated films of the year from a visionary director, and based on del Toro's filmography, we're certainly in for a treat. In recent years, many auteur directors have had to seek out funding from these streaming platforms, someone like Guillermo del Toro adapting Frankenstein for the medium of film, or you just have to look at how Martin Scorsese had to go to Netflix to fund The Irishman, and then Apple for Killers of the Flower Moon. Even though Frankenstein is a recognisable intellectual property, though it is in the public domain, it is interesting to me that only Netflix would fund and produce the project by Guillermo del Toro, who seems perfectly fit to craft the 1818 Mary Shelley novel into a motion picture. Though Frankenstein stories have tended to lean towards a horror element, Guillermo del Toro has said that this is a personal adaptation and the themes are humanity, love, the cost of ambition, rather than the traditional horror element, although it certainly does look like it borrows the horror iconography of what we expect from a Frankenstein movie, or a general sort of Gothic horror movie. The story of Frankenstein takes place mostly in Switzerland, although the visuals from this look like they're using a fantastical sort of reimagining of what we expect. This isn't a historic adaptation of what Frankenstein is. It is clearly a fantasy novel or almost an early sci-fi novel, so by using visuals that are Gothic, over the top, that we see in the trailer, I think makes sense for a director like Guillermo del Toro. And it's just something that is cinematically interesting to the audience to see these big elaborate sets with these over-the-top and grand designs. Obviously, the trailer is only 2 minutes long or so, but seeing Oscar Isaac play the role of Dr. Victor Frankenstein is not someone who I would expect to be cast in this role, but I feel like he's doing a very good job, and I'm very intrigued to see what he does with the role and to develop it across the runtime of the film. And then you have someone like Jacob Elordi being cast as the creature. We don't see his face throughout the trailer. We do get to see his enormous size, as the actor is like 6'5" tall, and I'm sure he can bring a great physicality to the role. And to be honest, he's one of the younger rising stars who've been appearing in a lot of great projects over the last few years and is getting a lot of acclaim. So I'm very excited to see him work with someone like Guillermo del Toro, especially in a role that's not the traditional handsome leading man. He's going to be a monster in this and is fierce. We do get to hear his voice at the end of the trailer and see the basic design, although he's wearing a hood. I think that's quite intriguing to see him take on a role like this. And for a rising star to have a role where you're going to probably cover your face in some form or have prosthetics on your face to look deformed is seen somewhat as a risk, but I think that's an interesting way actors can really play a role really well and get lost in the character. So I think that's a good take for Jacob Elordi to do this role. I did see, however, that Andrew Garfield was originally attached to star as the creature in this movie, but had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts. But I think Jacob Elordi is going to do a fantastic job in this role. There are other supporting actors cast in this. We have Christoph Waltz and Maya Goth, who we only briefly see in the trailer, so we don't get to see too much of their characters. This is really focusing on Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein in this teaser. I'm sure in a few months' time, before the November release date of this film, we're going to get a longer trailer that's going to show off a bit more of the movie and some of the great visuals we can expect from a director like Guillermo del Toro. It would be really great if we could keep the face of the creature hidden until the film's release date, but I do know that films will want to show that off and promote it to get people excited and build up hype for the film. So as much as I'd like to see them avoid showing that before the film comes out, I think that's unlikely. Overall, I love the music, I love the visuals of the trailer, and I'm very excited to see what this film is going to deliver when it lands on Netflix in November. This has seemingly been a passion project for Guillermo del Toro for several decades, as he's tried to make this film as early as the 90s, I believe. So the fact that he's finally got to make it the way he wants to is very exciting, and to see a director like him take on a passion project with a big budget and a great cast is certainly going to pay off. So I really hope this film is everything I want it to be. What are your thoughts on the trailer though? Did you enjoy it? Are you excited to watch this film, or is this just not for you? Let me know in the comments below, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and make sure to click the bell icon to receive notifications for all of my future videos. That's it for now, thanks for tuning in.